the children, they want to get rid of their parents. They are getting more detached. They want to be disconnected with their parents. And most of the children, when they grow up, they don't want to look after the parents. They send them to an old home. So I feel very sad. Once I went into depression, seeing this kind of detachment, because I served my guru, my father, till his last time. I am the only classical musician who didn't go to Bombay. I was born in Gwalior and my father lived in Delhi, and being the youngest child, I was so attached to my father, and he was very old, and due to musical politics he was suffering also, and he was just waiting for me to uh, understand music. And I was invited, I will go to Bombay to perform, or Chennai or anywhere. I'll come back immediately. I wanted to look after my father. And in 1971, Mr. James Babbage from Canada, he came to India to make documentary film on some musicians. I was also one of them. And during that documentary, he asked me, what is your ambition of life? And promptly I said, to look after my parents. Why it is happening? Why the young people are trying to detach themselves from their parents, from their guru? I know they have become very selfish. I'm sorry to use this word. But I would like your Roshni, your light.
I wish I had an easy solution. And जब कभी भी आपको इसका solution मिल जाए मुझे दे देना साहब. इसके बारे में हमने एक किताब लिखी है, Wisdom Bridge. It started with, in 2012, the idea emerged in 2012 to write a book on family life, raising children, role of parents and grandparents and other friends in the community. One of our friends' daughter came to visit. Then I was in Chennai, in Madras. I asked her, "Beta, kab shaadi karoge?" She was by then already 26, 27, something like that. I said, "It's high time you should get married." Then she said, "Uncle, I will get married when I'm 32, 33, like that." I said, "Good." Then I asked her next question, "Whom do you like the most in your family?" She said, "My grandmother." Then promptly I asked her another question. When you have your children, would they have grandparents left? Start calculating, I say. When you marry at 33, you'll have children perhaps. When you're 34, 35, if God wills. You delay too much, you may not even have your own child. You might have end up adopting others to their luck. When you have a child at 35 and your child turns teenager, you will be menopausing. Teenage hormones in the house, boiling with anger, and you with irritability and all kinds of depressions because of menopause. What becomes of the house atmosphere? A house full of disturbance. And then later on, when your child needs some comfort and there are no grandparents, who will solve that problem? The grandparents are very, very important in one's life. You are saying that they don't want to live with parents. Forget about grandparents. Another example I was sharing with her was that in the absence of grandparents, this wisdom that they transfer, unspoken wisdom, how to sit properly, how to eat, how to speak, all those behavioral things, they don't learn. Be you a family from Jainism or Sikh or Muslim or Hindu, doesn't matter. Some rituals we transfer to children. They end up learning those disciplines. That disciplines their mind. Purpose is only one, God realization. Disciplines are various, that's okay, and we respect them all. I was sharing the example of Amazonian forest, where most of the youngsters are moving away from the forest into bigger cities. Villages are left behind only by the old people. And old people carry the knowledge with their fathers, their grandparents, their great-grandparents transferred to them. In the absence of youngsters in a village, how can they transfer that knowledge? Impossible. So, I think humanity overall is heading towards extreme shock. What is not passed on from one generation to next generation will be completely lost. It will be clueless. And certain things are there which you cannot learn from Google, cannot learn from internet. From Google and internet, if anyone has learned any good thing, I doubt it. A lot of bad things they are learning. Their private rooms have become their own enemies. Nowadays, people say, oh, the outside world is very bad. I cannot send my daughter outside after 9 o'clock. I agree. But then there are more dangers lurking in her own private rooms. You don't know what she's doing in the room. Surfing, meeting all kinds of people. And when we give so much of freedom, the basic moral foundation is destroyed. They become very selfish. They become very arrogant. And when you tell them not to do things, you become their enemies. There's another reason why they want to run away from families. Extreme selfishness. Moreover, adults also are to be blamed to a certain extent. We end up buying them all kinds of fancy things, even before they ask for it. You tell them, please, bete, don't use phones. But we all use phones, keep it under the pillow and go to sleep. How are you going to convince them not to use the phone? If adults begin to somehow display a lifestyle which is pure and simple, I was saying pakiz and sadgi, purity and simplicity. When they do this worship together, be it bhajan kirtan or be it namaz or be it meditation together in a house, it creates an atmosphere which they learn. If they go outside, even for a day, they say, oh, I'm missing that atmosphere, let me go back home. I can do this worship with my parents, with my brothers and sisters. So to me, what can bind a family very strongly is this foundation of spirituality, where when we close our eyes and see the consequences of our action before we act, then you will perhaps stop doing what you were going to do. If if I run away from my mother, from my father, think over it. I experienced once a tragedy. I can't name names here because they are all our Abhyasis also. Very closely related in my own family. बहू आई 2 दिन के बाद बोली कि उनके घर में मैं नहीं रहूंगी। तो बेटे क्या हो गया? I can live with my husband, but I will not live with his parents. ऐसे इसमें बुरा क्या है रहना? तेरे को खाना नहीं बनाना पड़ेगा, तो शांति से तो रहेगी। No, but I want to enjoy life. And why did you get married? You could have had a half a dozen boyfriends. So this is the mindset. And this is not just today. Sometime in 1948, our master, Guruji, he wrote a letter to one Abhyasi. The main problem of a new daughter-in-law coming into a house is from both sides. अपनापन. जब तक अपनापन नहीं होता है, she will live like a guest in the house. मजा नहीं है. तो अपनापन establish करना है from both sides. This is my daughter-in-law, not just daughter. This is my daughter. And daughter-in-law has to understand this is my new family. I must cherish this family. I must love this family. If she cannot do it, please don't think of marriage. Stay bachelor and fool around instead of destroying somebody else's family.
The problem of religion, it's never ended. All over the world, there is racial problem in our country, so much. There are group of people, they want to divide. So, I am grateful to God Almighty that this precious gift, the music, has come to my life. And through the music, I have realized and I have felt that I belong to every religion.
Yes.
My audience come from every religion, and in our country we say Swar hi Ishwar hai. The music has connected the world, but with all due respect to the language sometimes creates barriers. So it has been a great honor and privilege to be near you and to hear you, and I would always like to be connected with your organization, with you.
Thank you, sir. I would actually extend my heartfelt invitation to you, the children and grandchildren. One day, who knows, all 3 generations can perform here, sir. So I tell you one beautiful thing my Guruji told. When we recite La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, what is the meaning of it? If you translate it into Sanskrit, it is the first sloka of Rig Veda. That God is one, He is the only one. Whether you call, like bread, one day someone asked me, like, how do you convince the people? If you translate Gita into Urdu and Quran into Sanskrit, You'll find difficulty in understanding and in differentiating whether this is from Hinduism or this is from Islam. No. Another thing, in India we call, in Gujarat, rotli or rotla. Same bread, elsewhere is called differently. English we call bread. Naan, roti, कुछ भी बोल दो. Same thing is with God. Our languages are different. So we give different names, and because of the different names we keep fighting. But it's the same entity. I give also this example. If Buddha had to stand on the Everest, Mahavir also stands on the same Everest. Nanak Sahib stands on the same Everest. And listen to their description of Everest at the same time. All three will describe it differently, because all three cannot stand on the same point on Everest. They'll have to face different direction. One will be seeing the sunset, another will be seeing the sunrise, another will know nothing at all. And that description will mislead the people. They saw what they saw from their own individual heights in spirituality. And they described that in the language they knew. That we keep fighting. Oh, this is prem, this is love, this is ishq. All nonsense. All this can be felt in the heart. When we say we meditate in the presence of the light, divine presence, divine light in the heart. Some people say, is it okay if I meditate on Nur-e-Ilahi? I say, why not? It's the same thing. Nur means light, Ilahi means the ultimate. What is the difference? No difference whatsoever. Ruhe Nur means Atmiya Prakash. It's all unnecessarily, the world is in chaos. Problem with Hinduism is one. In Vedic time there were no temples. No, not even one. Because the people then, they were so pure and humble and simple, they could experience that ultimate presence in everything. In the sky, in the akash, in waters, in the mountains, in the trees, in animals, in others. So there was no need to build anything specific. God has created all this anyway. So they worship mountains, the rivers. But now, they worship mountains and rivers without knowing why. And even though you may know why, that God is everywhere, but nobody feels the presence. So the belief has come in the way of most of Hindus. Problems with monotheistic religions like Islam, Christianity, Judaism, they think nobody is better than us. If you are not a Muslim, you are somebody else, chop him off. If you are a Christian or a Jew, you see a Muslim, your blood boils. So these are problems related to ignorant masses.
I think in the world we have enough religious buildings, whether mosque, church or temples. Considering the problems of poor people, poor human beings, I think we need more hospitals in the world than religious buildings.
Yes, sir. I agree with you. Thank you all, and you have a wonderful evening.